In the wake of the Capitol attack, there were certainly a lot of questions about some of the footage that we saw from some police officers, but then also there was clearly some heroism from cops who willingly were leading the rioters away, some who were attacked, brutalized, many were injured, and obviously a death toll was left after that. And so the Congress decided they're going to pass this resolution to honor some of those police. They have this resolution that states on January 6, 2021, a mob of insurrectionists forced its way into the US Capitol building and congressional office buildings and engaged in acts of vandalism, looting, and violently attacked Capitol police officers. The desecration of the US Capitol, which is the temple of our American democracy, and the violence targeting Congress are horrors that will forever stain our nation's history. And so, it seems like the most obvious thing in the world, except the slightly more obvious thing that is going to be opposed by a number of Republicans who voted against it. A dozen of them voted against it. Andy Biggs and Thomas Massie and Andy Harris and Lance Gooden and Matt Gaetz, what a tool. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, who didn't have time yesterday to comment on the fact that a bunch of people were murdered in her state. She didn't have any time for that. She did have time to try to block a resolution to honor the cops who, look, to be fair to her, were standing against her team on that particular day. But yeah, a dozen of them had a problem with it. And they would come up with these excuses, Yasmin, like they're not really insurrectionists, which again, you sound like you're on their side if you're picking little like points like that apart. And Matt Gaetz, I don't even want to read his quote or whatever, but you would think that would be pretty obvious, but no, they had a problem with it.
Well, I appreciate you for not subjecting me to Matt Gaetz's tweet. Thank you. Yeah, whenever things like this happen, it's always funny to me the things that people choose to focus on, because in so focusing on certain things, they're actively not focusing on the really obvious things. And you have to ask again, why? Why are you doing this? And it's because, do you actually support cops or not really? Was that just a talking point, And as we saw during the resurrection with the insurrectionists, not the resurrection, the insurrection. During the insurrection with the insurrectionists, they immediately did not respect the cops that were there, And now to see it happening from congressional Republicans, it's like, oh, this is an institutionalized, agreed upon stance that you're taking as a party. And it's an interesting one considering where you came from. For the last 4 years, what you were fighting for was justice for cops, which is interesting because they're the ones who facilitate justice in a lot of ways, at least on the most tangible, real level for most Americans. When we see cops, that's what we see. And, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't like talking about her for the same reason that, the other person in the super chat mentioned. But to your point with that, you do have to talk about these things because maybe it'll get through to somebody, if you really want to stop making terrible people famous, don't click on things with their names on it, just little things that you can do to upset the algorithm or whatever. But in the world of politics, and this is a thing that I struggled with during the Trump presidency, is how much attention do I give this guy? But I have to give him some because he's the president, and the things that he says, no matter how ridiculous they are consequential to lives. You do have to give attention to it, and you do have to call it out for what it is, because if you don't, you're really not a whole lot better than the people who listen to it and abide by it. You still have to speak out against certain things.
Yeah, and your point is a great one, and we have some recent examples of that. Like, how many times did we hear, don't focus on the thing he says, he's just saying stuff. Like when he says that we should slow down the testing and then they slowed down the testing. Or, when he says they stole the election, you should do something about it. And oops, they attacked the Capitol. Like sometimes it's worth talking about because they're listening. Whether we talk about it or not, they're listening over there. They hear what Trump says. They pay attention to what Marjorie Greene does. So we have to understand it as well. Interestingly, as some have pointed out, Jim Jordan and Lauren Boebert not voting against it. Wonder why.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.